Like we always do with this time.
I think this kid has an NFL quality talents. He's very aware, very astute, understands concepts.
I love this kid. Or if you haven't heard about him, you're going to hear a lot of them now and going forward, because this guy has got it. Depths with Khmari Thompson back deep.
Three-star wide receiver Khmari Thompson
won't even get pulled over.
First.
He just outruns everybody. He has another gear.
Fundamentals, we talking everything sports. We spend a lot of time, talking about professional sports, NBA, MLB, NFL. But today we kind of wanted to highlight one of the younger leaders and one of the best, college football players in the country, one of the premier receivers and return specialists in the country. Just to give you all a little bit of his accolades, because we all about giving people their flowers while
all
they're here.
All the time, please.
Coming out of high school, he was a 3-star recruit. He got a football scholarship to the University of Missouri. While at Missouri, he played football and was a member of the track and field team. He was on a 4x1 team that went to nationals. He left Missouri, played for 3 years, was recruited by Lovie Smith to come play at the University of Illinois.
Chicago knows, love it.
Man, love it, right? And, now he's finishing up with his last stop at Arkansas State University. So, great guy, personal friend of mine, about to be a great friend of the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Khmari Thompson in the building.
All right, thank you, man. I just want to say thank you for bringing me on the show.
Oh, man, thank you for coming on.
I'm excited for tonight, man.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate the time you take out your busy schedule. We know you college athletes are very busy men around this time.
Yeah, but never too busy for nothing like this, man. That's why I appreciate it.
Training camp right around the corner. It's an exciting time. Football is back.
Oh, it's in full swing. We know we're feeling that right now.
You know what I mean? College football training camps will be starting in about a week. NFL already started, so it's that buzz in the atmosphere. It's a great time of year. But what I wanted to start, we talked about your time at Illinois, and for the Chicagoans out there, Illinois is kind of like our college football team. You know what I mean? Like, we are huge U of I fans. I remember growing up with that one U of I team that went to the Rose Bowl. I know Arturo and the rest of the guys remember that team under Coach Zook. They had so many great teams. But
definitely,
at a point in time last season, you all were ranked as high as 11th in the country. It had one of the best defenses in all of college football. I believe it was ranked number 2 behind the Georgia defense. You all played in a big-time bowl game against Mississippi State. So, what was it like for you being a part of one of the best seasons in the University of Illinois' history? Because over the last, maybe 5 or 6 years, the program has become very dormant. You know what I mean? Like I said, they were once a household name in college football, and, they kind of took a step back. Been a lot of different coaching changes. It's been a lot of change and a lot of turnover. But you were a part of the team that has shifted the culture, and now they're back to being one of those prominent names in college football. So tell me what it was like to be a part of that team.
Man, it was a blessing. From the coaching to the support staff that we had to just the players, and basically how we rallied together, because we wanted to be, the next Illinois team. We wanted to be like the alma mater that came before us. I want to say, like, our defense, man, that defense was something serious. We had –
Yes, it was.
we had the number what? Spoon with number 5.
Yep. Seahawks.
The Seahawks.
Yep.
We got wonderful talent that's there right now within Johnny Newton and Keith Randolph, and the offensive side is just getting better. So I just want to say, shout out to them boys. But like last year, man, we really wanted to do it. We really wanted to make a name for ourselves, and I think that we did. I think we fell short in a couple of the games that we really wanted to win, but that was like the kicking off moment for us. So I'm proud of them.
What I wanted to go to next was, obviously, this thing called college football, man, it's an incredible journey. It's really a grind. It's up and down, right? It teaches us a lot. But me knowing you personally, I know that you have such an incredible story. And I think that, a lot of people, they see where you're at now. They see, the success. They see, everything that you've been able to achieve, right? Being this, kid that kind of came out of nowhere, and you're playing in the SEC as a freshman. You're doing all of these great things, but I think a lot of people don't know the backstory. So I really want to kind of dive into the backstory, man, and just ask you, a couple of questions, because I know you were born in Mississippi. Right? Born in Mississippi. I know that you actually lived in Bolingbrook for a part in your time in life. A lot of people don't know that. So you do kind of have some roots here. You know what I mean? And then I know now, you've been raised pretty much in Atlanta, Georgia, which has been awesome. So what I wanted to ask you, man, growing up, like, what sports did you play, and, like, how did you really get into sports?
All right, man. I was really one of those kids that really enjoyed like skateboarding and BMXing. That was really one of the things I was really into.
You don't hear anybody really say I'm a BMXer.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Did you play Tony Hawk on the PS?
Skate 4, Skate 3, all of them.
Oh, okay.
Tony Hawk Underground, man, it was great.
Man, my days were 1 and 2, but I'm a little older than both.
Yeah,
So we can go there, okay?
But like those are the things that I was really into. My family was huge on athletics, especially my dad. Just my family, like we were huge Washington Husky fans, and we were huge Seattle Seahawks fans. My mom was a Mississippi State Bulldog fan herself. So, I've always been around the game. But for me, I just wanted to, pave my own way. Mm-hmm. I just love BMXing, man. I love the X Games. That's the type of things that I was into. Just like learning new tricks and things like that. But, sports never really came on until later on and down the line.
So, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you, man, because a lot of people don't know this. When did you actually start playing football? Okay,
so I'm going to give you the correct published date. So I tried out for football my 8th grade year.
Okay.
Did not go well,
What does that mean in retrospective? What is not good? I mean, you said 8th grade. It's young, so what is that?
Okay, so I tried out for the team, right, that summer.
Right.
That's when I realized, football may not be for me.
Little did you know.
Yeah, because, at the time, people were playing for, 6 to 7 years at that time.
Right.
I was behind the curveball, behind on like plays and certain things that you're supposed to know at that age. So, I decided, I'm going to walk away from it from that time of being.
Okay.
But then I started playing again my senior year of high school.
Your senior year of high school.
Senior year of high school.
You don't hear that much.
That is that's crazy.
Right?
Like most guys, especially when you go on to college, like they have a full body of work that they've put in. You know what I mean? So the fact that
just tells me you had something. So I'm gonna let you keep going. What happened here?
All right, so I'll walk y'all through it. So my sophomore year, I decided to run track. I decided to run track solely off of a dare, which is crazy.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I had a friend in high school with me who he swore he was faster than me. Swore up and down.
They always do.
They really do. And he was like, I'm coming out for track. You want to come, you can come race me if you like. And I was like, man, I don't need to race you. Like, I know I'm faster than you. And so he's like, come prove it on the track, which ultimately I did. And at the end of the season, I kind of looked up and I was like, okay, I did a really good season. I had ran solid for somebody who ran in their first year. Mm-hmm. And I had an adult come to me and was like, if you take this seriously, then, you have a future not only in college, but, if you want to take it further than that. And after that, it just kind of hit the ground rolling. I got to my junior year. I got the right coaching behind me. I ran 21.4. I ran a 10.7. I ran 47.7 in the 400. So, things really started to look up. I'm one of the more premier track athletes in the state of Georgia. And unfortunately, I had a situation happen right before state. And I guess I wouldn't say it was a bad thing, but it was a lesson at the time. I had missed practice for a family reason, and it ended up going down in the wrong way. My coach ended up pulling me from state. And after that, I just decided, that's not a program that I really wanted to be in. Mm-hmm. Solely after that, I'm running summer track, and I met my former wide receiver coach who was at Central Gwinnett High School. He met me there at my track meet.
Okay.
And then we hit it off after that. And basically he said, bro, if you wanted to come to my school, you could be in college at any school that you want to be at. And
as a track athlete or a football player?
As a football player.
Okay.
So he approached me on the track. And I said, you know what? I believe this, man. And the rest is history.
So what was like your numbers, you know what I'm saying, like your senior year? Because, I mean, you went from 1 year of high school football to being a 3-star recruit. So, what was the stats?
3-star. I can't let that be just skate under the rug there. No,
right. After one season, though, like
senior
most
year
people,
of high school,
put in have
football,
a full body
he's
of work.
a 3-star recruit, man.
Yeah.
He had a full body of work. I could imagine what you would.
So
let's keep it going.
For yards, I went for 1,300 I went for 1,300 receiving yards. Right. I had 12 touchdowns, but I went for 3,000 all-purpose.
And this is in the state of Georgia and playing some of the best competition in the world.
So I'm in 7A. So 7A is at the time was the highest you can go to. But they have now in Georgia they have the 8A, which is the super region. But them schools is huge, man. It's like them schools out in Texas.
Right.
I was playing in the best ball. I'm playing schools like Lowndes. I'm playing schools like Roswell. I'm playing schools like Decula. I'm playing schools like Norcross. I'm playing prime, competitive teams. So it was a blessing, man.
So you had a great season, obviously, but what Like when the season was over, obviously your name started to make waves. When did the recruiting process kind of take off, and what did that look like? How did that whole process take place? Because like I said, you only had 1 year of film, so it wasn't like they had, all previously already knew who you were. So talk about the recruiting process.
A lot of good faith coming your way, man.
Absolutely. So what was the recruiting process like?
Basically, it was after the first Jamboree game. So that's kind of like a scrimmage game in Georgia. Mm-hmm. We call it Jamboree. Man, I remember because it got cut off at the half. At the half, I had 150 yards for 2 touchdowns, and I had the film up from that. And I remember the very first school that called me was Kansas State.
Really?
Yeah. Kansas State was the first school that called me, and not only did the football coach call me, but also the track coach called me on the same call. So,
okay.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. They were like, look, man, we want to let you know that, we're the first school, but we want to offer you a scholarship, man. And they were the first team to be like, see the potential that I had. And then after that, it just came rolling, man.
So when did Kansas State give you the offer?
So that was, I want to say, like at the ending of August. Yeah, the end of August in 2017.
Okay, so when the season ended and it was like prime recruiting season, I don't know, did you do the early signing?
I did.
Okay, so talk about the whole recruiting process from the time your senior year football season ended up until you signed. Like what were the schools that were looking at you? What were some of the visits that you took, and what went into your final decision on the school that you decided to go to?
I had scholarships from all over the country, and it was blessings, man. Like I think the coolest offer that I had coming out of high school was to University of Hawaii. Like
wow,
that was
That'd
crazy.
be very enticing for me.
That's what I'm saying.
I think I might do it.
So just like having an offer from University of Hawaii, like that was cool. But it ranged from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. But the schools that I was really looking into were Mizzou, Purdue, Tulane, schools like that, which I think that had similar offenses to the one I ran in high school and a vertical threat. And those were the schools that really had my attention. Like those were like my top 3 coming out of high school.
Man, that's what's up, man. So why ultimately did you decide to go to University of Missouri?
Not only because of the coaches there, but also because it was a wonderful university when I took my official visit. That is the only official visit that I actually took. And when I got on campus, not only did I fall in love, but my parents fell in love with not only the coaches, but the school, the deans, the school that I ended up being in recreation and tourism. So it just felt like the best fit for me.
That's awesome, man. I mean, like you went from, as a junior in high school, have pretty much no football experience to basically 2 years later being in the SEC. And you weren't just in the SEC, you actually played as a true freshman in the SEC.
No red shirt.
No red shirt. So what was that like, man? Like what was it like actually seeing time as a freshman with such little high school experience playing in the best, college football conference that there is?
It was hard. I'm not even gonna say it wasn't hard.
Man, I love how he's acknowledging that.
It was hard, only because like you're playing with people that are bigger than you, faster than you, and then smarter than you at that. And some kids they're ready their second year to go to the league if they could. Mm-hmm. So it was a learning experience for me. But I had great mentors, from the coaches to the players that were on that staff to the receiving room. The receiving room was like brothers to me. So they made sure that I got caught up to speed. And so it was a learning curve for sure, but I ended up making up for it at the end of the year.
I do know that your time at Missouri was I think about 2 years.
Yes.
And then you ultimately, during the COVID season, I believe it was right before the COVID season, ultimately decided to leave. But before we get into, that, I want to ask you about the transfer portal, because obviously you've been able to be somebody who's been able to use the transfer portal and benefit from it and really be able to experience different schools and be able to grow and be able to leave one place, go somewhere else, have a lot of success, and, be able to have that movement and be in an environment where, if the coach leaves, if there are changes that are going on, right, you're going to ultimately do what's best for yourself. And I think a lot of young high school kids that are going to be going into college and then current college athletes, like with the transfer portal being so new, we're all still learning. We're all still growing about this, this thing called the transfer portal. So what has your experience been like using the transfer portal, and how do you feel about the transfer portal?
Okay, so I would say I'm thankful for the transfer portal. I think that it's helped me tremendously because, I've been in unfortunate situations with so many coaching changes, and basically giving me the opportunity to still do what I love.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't understand, like, when you're in college, if you are committed to a certain coach and that coach leaves, it puts you in a very odd predicament, right? Because you got a new coaching staff that's coming in. They may be rocking with you. They might not be rocking with you. And coaches leave, as we all know, the gentleman at the table, coaches leave at the drop of a hat, right? But when this transfer portal came in, it put the power back in the player's hands and allowed him to have some movement, him to have some freedom. Right. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I don't think a lot of people know that. So go ahead.
And I think a lot of times the transfer portal gets a bad reputation on it.
Right.
Because, it allows athletes to leave and go to other schools, but people don't really see the positive side of it. It's like, okay, well, this kid must have been dealing with a coaching change, mental issues. Like there's a long list of different things that players go through. Right. And I'm thankful for it because it gave me the opportunity not only once but twice. But navigating it was really, really difficult because, you kind of just put your name into the database. Okay. And you just hope basically somebody
picks you up.
Kind of like a call. Like,
is it like going on the waivers if you win the league, or in like this go off fantasy football?
It's like free agency, basically.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you get picked up and you get a loan. Where you going?
So you're basically just like, okay, I put my name in there, and it's a portal that only the coaches can see. So on the schools, and you're just basically waiting for that call for an opportunity. So basically, the first time for me, I was very nervous, but I was sure that I was going to get an opportunity. And
rightfully so. It's an unknown scenario.
Yeah, so I was sure I was going to get an opportunity. I just didn't know where. And luckily I landed at Illinois and had the opportunity to go to Illinois and grew there. And then I was fortunate to graduate early and then be able to go to Arkansas State now, and that's a huge opportunity for me now. So I think the transfer portal has worked great for me, and not only me but other athletes that I also do know. But I hate that gets a negative reputation behind it.
What I wanted to ask you, man, was like, what was the process like with Lovie Smith recruiting you to come play for the University of Illinois, and what was your relationship like with Lovie? Because we all know he's had the reputation of being the ultimate player's coach. So what was it like getting recruited by Lovie and him bringing you to U of I?
Please.
First of all, I want to give a shout out to Coach Lovie, Coach Stoker, and Coach Bellamy. Like they were some really, really good people, and they're part of the reason why I ended up going to University of Illinois. But Coach Lovie, man, is just you see what you get. Like, he's a wonderful guy. He takes care of you. That year I did play DB that year. So
hold on. I don't want to back up. I don't mean to cut you off. So you got moved from receiver to defensive back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I played safety and corner that year. So while I was there during his tenure that year, I was working with him directly.
Wow.
Yeah. So and his brain, man, he's smart. He's analytical, man. And it was a blessing. It was fun to be around him because he would explain why would we do what we do.
Okay.
The defensive schemes, how this fit with this. And I loved it. So I want to give a special thanks to him because I wouldn't be at where I'm at now not for that year and what I've learned. So Coach Lovie, man, I got to give all thanks to him, man. I really do.
What are your goals next year? Because you are a brand new fish in a new pond, but your athleticism is nothing to be, scoffed at. So let them know.
Basically, next year, man, I'm just trying to help my team win and get as many wins under our belt this year, whatever they need me to do. I think we have a special group in our quarterbacks and our receiver room, to our defense, to our coaches, man. I think we have a special team. And we can really go out there and really shock some heads, especially on September 2nd. Mm-hmm. So that's all I'm really focused on. My goals are going to get accomplished. My independent goals and individual goals are definitely going to get accomplished after the team goals.
Right.
Because if we handle our team goals, then my individual goals are going to get smashed.
I like that.
That's where I'm at with that this year.
I wanted to ask you because I think, we have a lot of younger viewers that listen, and a lot of high school kids, a lot of kids even younger than that, and obviously you were able to achieve some pretty incredible heights with a very limited amount of actual time in football that, you've spent actually just playing the game, right? Mm-hmm. And I know Arturo has a member of his family that's a high school football player. And for all of the young football listeners that are, watching right now, what did it take for you to get to the point that you're at now? Because I think, again, a lot of people see where you're at now, but I don't think they understand the way that you work. They don't understand your discipline. They don't understand your regimen routine. I know because I know you personally, but I don't think people really understand how much you really dedicate yourself to your craft and everything that it took you. Yes, you do have an insane amount of God-given potential, but there was also a lot of work that it took to harness all of that. So
some discipline.
Yeah. What went into the process of getting to where you're at exactly right now?
First, the track background, always trying to beat your personal best. Always trying to get that next step, that last millisecond. So that kind of just transferred over into football. and just having a complete focus. I think that once you're determined and can't nobody tell you no, at that point, can't nobody mess with you. So that's kind of the focus that I've always had. It's like, okay, you're telling me that I'm behind the ball. Okay, well, I'm going to catch up. Okay, well, you tell me that I can't do this. I can't move like this. Okay, I'm going to show you. So that's always been my fuel to my fire. Okay, the coaches told me that you can't be a one and done. You can't do that. Okay, well, I'm going to show you that I can do it, and I'm going to be really good at it. I'm going to be one of the best in Georgia to do it. And that's what was like my biggest push, and it just transferred over into college. You know, I did get an injury my sophomore year, and that was hard. But again, that track background just keep pushing, keep going. You're gonna get back. Just keep going, keep going. So you know, you stack those days, kind of like Kobe. You know, I'm a huge Kobe fan, and just being relentless, man. Having that Mamba mentality, like ain't nothing gonna stop me. Ain't nobody gonna stop me. I'm gonna achieve whatever goal that I set out to achieve. And once I stack those days are gonna get stacked so much that you can't make up for them. And then you know all the results will come to light.
I have one more question because I know we got to go. We up against the clock. I know we got to go quick, but I'm gonna make this one quick because you said something and I was gonna lead into my next question. The whole Mamba mentality. I'm not sure if you saw this quote from Kobe, but he talked about the path of the journey versus the destination. And so with that being said, that you are supposed to enjoy the journey, but also you got to reach your destination. So with that being said, do you feel like right now with the transfer portal and where you're going to play football